Brooklyn, New York, a woman who testified in court that R. Kelly sexually abused her when she was 17 said that Kelly told her and 2 other people he should be allowed to have sex with very young girls because he is a genius. The now 39-year-old woman, who identified herself by the pseudonym Stephanie, said Kelly made the remark during dinner at a restaurant with 2 rappers he worked with, and that Kelly spoke unprompted. She was the 3rd alleged victim to testify in the federal trial against Kelly, who has been charged with racketeering and sex trafficking. Prosecutors have contended that Kelly abused at least 22 women and men, some of whom were teens when they met the singer, and Stephanie's testimony suggested why Kelly allegedly sought out young victims for years. He mentioned that he likes very young girls and that people make such a big deal of it. Even look at Jerry Lee Lewis, Stephanie testified, Kelly said, referring to the rock and roll singer who married his 13-year-old cousin. He's a genius and I'm a genius. We should be allowed to do whatever we want. Look at what we give the world. Stephanie told the court that she first encountered Kelly when she was 16, at the Rock and Roll McDonald's in Chicago in 1998, where she was with her boyfriend, best friend, and her best friend's boyfriend. An employee of Kelly's gave Stephanie a slip of paper with Kelly's number on it, even after she told the man she was 16. He said, "R. Kelly wants you to call him," she said. Stephanie had no intention to call Kelly and threw out his number, she said. But the following summer, they crossed paths again. Stephanie was working at a hotel, and she heard Kelly was making an appearance at a Nike store around the corner. Her best friend was an aspiring singer, and Stephanie thought introducing the two might help jumpstart her friend's career. She ran into Kelly just as he was exiting the store, and the two began talking. About a week later, Kelly and the 17-year-old had their first sexual encounter. She went to his studio, where she was escorted into a room. It was hours before Kelly showed up, she said, at which point he sat down close to her on the couch, laid his head on her shoulder, and apologized for the delay. They then had sex, she said, which Kelly initiated. At the time of their meeting, Stephanie said she had low self-esteem and had already experienced sexual trauma from a family member and a former boss. "It was the hardest time of my life," she said. "I was very vulnerable." Stephanie kept seeing Kelly about once or twice a week for the next 6 months, she said, almost always in that same room in the studio where they first had sex. Though she never lived with him, as many of his other alleged victims did, Kelly still exerted intense control over her, she said. He would frequently raise his voice at her, frightening her, she said. He was either very nice and charming, jovial, or he was very controlling and intimidating, she recalled. He could put the fear of God in me very quickly. Sex with Kelly was humiliating, Stephanie said, describing how he controlled every part of the encounter, even instructing her on how she should moan. He would frequently ejaculate on her face, she said, leaving her feeling disgusted, less than. At times, he would make her assume a specific sex position and then leave the room and make her hold it for hours, yelling at her if she moved, she said. I would just be completely naked with my butt in the air, just waiting there for him to come back, she said.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.